Frustration for Craig Bellamy's Wales as they were beaten 4-2 by Belgium last night on Monday night. And a game that started off so well. Wales obviously started the game in the ascendancy. Mark Harris had an early chance before Joe Rodon headed home for a rare goal for him. And at that point, it looked like Wales might be able to get another famous win over the Belgians. But it wasn't to be. We'll talk about a couple of the key themes here and what this means for Wales going forward. Now, a couple of things to mention. Firstly, the aforementioned Harris being selected ahead of Kiefer Moore clearly raised some eyebrows amongst Wales fans, and it hasn't aged particularly well given the result and given the fact that Kiefer Moore came off the bench with 5 minutes to go and made himself very much known to Trossard, nicking the ball off him and playing through Broadhead, who then finished. For Broadhead and Moore to combine like that, having not been selected to score such an important goal, or a goal that meant the game was alive for a minute or so before Belgium got their fourth goal. It doesn't age particularly well for Craig Bellamy. It doesn't make the selection look particularly clever. What I would say in his defence was that at Wembley on Thursday night, it was obvious how much Wales wanted to press England, but it's with Kiefer Moore up front, it doesn't really work. And Moore has so many qualities. He's such a good target man. He's a goal threat. He wins all of his aerial duels. And he's a very willing runner, but he's not the most mobile. And in Harris, you have someone who's very good at pressing from the front. And I think part of the reason why Wales were able to have moments in the game where they weren't on the front foot, were able to get their defensive line forward and dominate the ball, was because of Harris's tireless running. And he did that very well. But even so, when you're looking back at it now, would you have wanted Kiefer Moore to be on the pitch for longer than 5 minutes? Probably yes. Would you maybe wanted Nathan Broadhead to get that only chance that Mark Harris had? Possibly yes. Then looking at the handball decisions that turned the game, I think quite clearly you cannot argue with the Jordan James decision for the third goal. He had a moment of madness. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing. Putting his arm out like that and moving it towards the ball. It was a very clear penalty and nothing I think that we can complain about there. But the first one for Ampadu that went to VAR, I personally think that, and Bellamy said similar afterwards, it's just way too big a punishment for such a minor offence. There's no intent at all from Ampadu to handball it. His arm is away from the body. It's clearly a shot that is destined for the goal, and therefore it is a handball by the letter of the law. But in football these days, do we really want to be in a position where you can be penalised for a ball striking an arm with effectively, a 75% chance of scoring, which is exactly what a penalty is, probably higher than that when it's Kevin De Bruyne over the ball. So I can understand Bellamy's frustration in such a massive game for that moment at 1-0, at a point where Wales have started the game so well, to play such a big role and such a big factor is incredibly frustrating. I think we have to look at Bellamy's approach as well. We know that he, as a manager, wants Wales to play front-footed, really energetic football, looking to get the foot on the ball quite a lot. But when you look at recent performances against some of the better teams in European football, in 2 games against Belgium, Wales have conceded 8 goals. Wales conceded 3 goals against England in the first 20 minutes in a friendly before the game kind of fizzled out. He's a young manager. He's a young coach. He worked under Vincent Kompany at Burnley, who's also very wedded to his methods and doesn't really look to have a plan B. But I do wonder if when you're managing the Wales national side, do you need to, in certain games, just be a bit more pragmatic and just maybe look to frustrate the opposition more consistently rather than just playing your own game? And I do wonder if this might be a learning for Bellamy going forward from the last couple of games, and we'll see if he ever does mix it up in that regard. But we look ahead, it's not all lost, clearly, in terms of topping the group. It's going to be incredibly difficult now, but 2 games coming up against Liechtenstein and then the big one against North Macedonia. Now, it looks like, most likely, Wales will have to beat North Macedonia in order to finish second and get a playoff place. But there is a chance in that Liechtenstein game, who, let's not forget, have conceded 23 goals in this qualifying campaign so far. If Wales can beat them by 6 clear goals, then they will only need a draw against North Macedonia. So if Wales were to go to Liechtenstein and beat them 6-0, 7-1, then that would bring a draw into play, because then the goal difference for Macedonia would be the same. But given that Wales have scored more goals and drew the first game, another draw would mean that Wales will qualify ahead of them. So let's hope that Craig Bellamy and his team do the maths and realise that when they go 2 or 3 goals up against Liechtenstein, they need to keep scoring in order to try and hammer home that advantage and move ahead of North Macedonia in that game in November. That will decide whether or not Wales can get that second spot. So a frustrating night for Wales. The fans obviously incredible again. But another game which is promising moments, certainly there was a part at 2-1 in the second half where Wales were in the ascendancy, but some the disappointing penalty decisions and some poor defending in transition has ended up costing them. So they'll need to regroup. Questions will of course be asked of Bellamy and the team selection and the approach to the game, and that'll be something he'll have to put right in the next November international break.